Looking for a way to make a statement without saying a word? Shop I Am All Things Clothier, the brand that lets your wardrobe do the talking. Our shirts aren't just clothing, they're bold declarations of who you are and where you're going. Whether you're crushing your goals, embracing self love, or simply looking to inspire, our designs keep you focused and stylish. So why just wear a shirt when you can wear your mindset? Visit IamEX313.com and choose the shirt that speaks to your journey today because you're more than just one thing. You're everything that you speak. Your circle will change as you accomplish your goals and level up. Everybody can't go.
And we live. Happy Wednesday and welcome to another Everybody Can't Go Convo. I am your host, Jessi Holley, and I wanted to bring you guys a little encouraging word today. I know it's the end of the year and everybody's talking about all of these goals that they crushed this year. Everybody is talking about like all of their accomplishments. Just a few weeks ago, I encouraged you guys to take a look through your phone month by month, even though I don't know how that's going with this update. Ugh, I'm not the biggest fan, but okay, I guess. But I digress. So I encourage you guys to take a look through your phone and take a look at all of the things that you did do for the year because it is very easy for it to get away from you, from me, from a lot of people as we are in the hustle and bustle. We're grinding, doing all the things, and we're moving quickly. And so sometimes we're moving so quickly that we don't take the time to look at all of the accomplishments that we have made. But then there's also another group of people and a flip side to that. It's okay if you ain't accomplish that you didn't accomplish nothing. It is completely okay if you ain't accomplished a darn thing but waking up and existing. Because for some of us, and during certain seasons and certain periods of time, sometimes that by itself is enough. And I know that it can become discouraging and or it can start to look a certain way to have all of these things that are, oh well, look at what I did, look at what I did. That is great and that is amazing. And we're all here for the congratulations. But we know that too much of a good thing can sometimes be detrimental. So for today, I'd like to give some encouragement to those who didn't have that big, long list of accomplishments, even though I'm pretty sure that there were some accomplishments in there. And that's why I said go back in your phone and look. And even if you don't have pictures of the accomplishments that you did have or make this year, you may see some other photos that jog your memory because of course the best photos sometimes don't even get taken or they don't make it to social media. And while you're sitting in reflection, just know it's okay to not have like major news or like some big announcement. It's okay to not have some big, great, hairy, audacious accomplishment because you yourself, you are an accomplishment. It's almost the new year and you are still here. And if you were starting to get down on yourself during this time, during this season, as we have the holiday coming up in a couple weeks, just a couple weeks. No, not even a couple weeks. Oh my gosh, it's next Wednesday, you guys. Next Wednesday is Christmas. So, like, make sure that while you are in the hustle and bustle of getting ready for the holiday, and even if you're not getting ready for the holiday, um, make sure that while we are still in that holiday spirit, still in the spirit of spending time with friends, family, doing all of these things, make sure that you're taking time for you. Again, making sure that you're taking time for yourself, and no matter what you've accomplished, you are enough. You are enough. Just you being you, you are enough. So I'm also a person that's reviewing what I've been doing all year. And I would also like to say to you guys, it's okay if you don't want to. There are definitely some points throughout this year that I don't want to review. I don't want to remember. I don't want to go back to. And luckily for me, even though some of those things had a very lasting effect, everyone doesn't have the option to just not review those things. There are some people that are still currently working through and or living those things. And so while there are those of us who we are heavy on our growth, heavy on the goals, just because it's the new year doesn't mean that everybody is on the new year, new you kick. We are not the girl walking up the stairs or the thing taking out the trash, that we throwing away the old friends or the old habits. Sometimes the new year is not a time of transition for some people individually. And that is okay. It's a celebration. It's a certain time of year. It's, mark your calendars. But if this isn't your year for those big transitions, huge changes, that is okay. Because we are all running our races at our own pace. As you are working through things, sometimes your pace needs to speed up or slow down. Sometimes you're running in place. Sometimes you are in a space where it is time to take a pause. It is time to just just rest in the space and the season that you're in. And so if this is not a time for you that it's like, oh, let me show you all my check boxes, that is okay too. Own your space and be sure that, I'll say, just check and make sure that you aren't stagnant against your will. And even if it is against your will, if it's somebody else's will, don't fight against it because you ain't gonna win, one. And two, again, sometimes we need that time to be still. Being still and waiting is not the same as being stagnant. So just remember that. And for some of us, just making it another year, like, I don't want to say surviving, but for some people it can literally be survival. But just making it through another year while keeping your head above water. Every year is not a year for growth. There are different times where there's a time to lay the foundation. We talked about that a little last week, talking about making sure that the foundation is solid whatever step that you're on is what you're building on. When we talked about growing with gratitude. Um, when it's a time to build the foundation, that's not time to buy light fixtures and furniture. Like, it's just not. It's not going in order. It's not going in a logical order, and it's not going in an order where you are building up to something or building something as you go, or the natural cycle of growth. So there will be times where you'll get to the end of the year and you will realize that you have kept your head above water, but you keeping your head above water, you may realize, oh, I kept my head above water. This is 2024 was better than 23. It was better than 22. That's when you're looking at whether or not your year was spent maintaining. The things that we build do require maintenance. The changes that we make in our lives do require maintenance. Some of the habits that we have needed to break, some of the bad habits that we've needed to break, some of the good habits that we've needed to implement or use to replace bad habits, that takes maintenance to stay on top of that and make sure that we are doing and keeping those positive things that have affected positive change and growth in our lives. It's very easy to like slip up, fall off, or start to like veer off in the wrong direction when you don't pay attention to proper maintenance of the new systems that you've set in place, the new things that you've set in place for yourself, the use of any new tips, techniques, tools, all of those things. It does take a while before it becomes second nature. And so, if there were things from last year or the beginning of this year that you implemented, you may have needed to tweak a few things, try a few different versions out. You may have needed to make a little change here or there, look at controls for your environment, for how you were feeling, for the seasons. Sometimes that can make a difference on what it is that you're doing. So, this could have been a year for maintenance for you, and there wasn't supposed to be like this big leap in your growth. And why is that a good thing? That is a good thing because if you spent this year in a year of maintenance, that means that you were that much closer to the new habits and the growth that you have had if you've been maintaining that throughout the year. While you may not have had the level up or the step up that you would have liked to see, you didn't see yourself going backwards and staying backwards. So when we're looking at it being okay to just make it through the year, when you make it through the year, and even if you ended up at the same baseline that you started at for this year, if the baseline that you started at for this year was your growth and maintaining that from last year so that you can get that solidified, then that is okay. That in itself is the accomplishment because you didn't take any L's. You didn't go backwards and stay backwards. It's one thing to take 3 steps forward and 2 steps back, 5 steps forward and 3 steps back versus, okay, well, I'm just not, I took 3 steps back and I'm going to just sit right here. That's not what we're doing all this work for. That's not, not the goal. And that's not why you put in all of this effort that you have been doing to work on yourself and to grow. So it is completely okay. And really like take a look at that. If you're feeling down about it, was this a maintenance year for you? The other thing that you need to look at is, was this a building year for you? Sometimes when we are right in the thick of construction, skyscrapers are not built in 2 weeks. Sometimes skyscrapers are not complete in 1 year. So if the growth that you would have liked to see was similar to, look, if your skyscraper is going to take 2.5 years to complete, don't expect to have it done from January to December of a 1 year time period. If what you are working on throughout the whole year is a piece or a chunk of a larger accomplishment, a larger goal, then that in itself is the accomplishment. And it's okay if you only want to, I say count your small wins. But if you only want to count the big wins and you're like, oh, but it's not finished. Okay, that's fine. Okay, you didn't finish it. But you did make work toward it. So there's progress. Though progress may not be the finish line, the end goal, you still have to get through the checkpoints so that you can get to the finish line. So again, it's okay to just make it through the year. Don't cross compare your accomplishments to the accomplishments of others. You guys may not have started from the same starting point. You may not have even had the same goals in mind initially when you even started out. You don't know how much help, how many handouts, how many resources were available. You don't know all the pre-work that other people have done. You don't know whether the thing that you're seeing is something that was inherited, if it was something that was given to them. When you start to cross compare your accomplishments to those of other people, sometimes the scales may not be even in ways that you think that they are. And I don't want you to feel that you're behind or you didn't accomplish enough because you're looking to your left, you're looking to your right. I don't know if that was right and left for y'all, but it was for me. For those of you who are listening, I did my left and right turn for me, myself. But I digress. When you were looking at either side at what other people are doing, and then you're comparing now, and I mean comparing yourself and your accomplishments in an unhealthy way or in a way that is causing you to feel down about what you have done, and you are not comparing your accomplishments to someone else's in a way that is helpful to you, in a way that is helpful to your cause, in a way that is helpful to your growth. If you are looking at comparison and it is becoming the thief of your joy, time out, take a step back, and refocus on yourself, what you set out to do during this year, and take a look at the facts. What did you actually do this year? If you had challenges that were preventing you from getting to the end result and end goals that you wanted to get to, or the accomplishments that you wanted to achieve, what were some of the things that were blockers for you? What were some of the challenges that hindered you from making as much progress as you thought that you would make or as you had originally planned? This is where we take those pitfalls, those blocks, and instead of saying, "Oh, all of this was thrown at me," we got more things to build with because we aren't starting at zero. We're starting from experience. Those experiences, any of those challenges, even if you'd like to consider them failures, you're starting from there with a whole new set of knowledge that you didn't have prior to taking that L, prior to that fail, or prior to not making that accomplishment. So there is still value in it if you choose to use it as a valuable resource. Now, if you're just going to do the same thing again, at that point, that's when I'm going to say that it's dumb. If you're going to redo the same thing that you know did not work and you aren't going to change and tweak not one control, you just going to redo it because you're going to force it to work. I ain't got nothing to help you with that part, okay? This ain't the pod for that. Because I really do want to see you win. So there is a way to review those L's and make sure that you are using that information not to beat yourself up, but you are using that information to try again and to tweak your approach, tweak the resource that you're using, um, tweak the method, the system, any of those things that when you it's like some of these things are like science experiments. You just change it one thing, maybe two, or if you know exactly where you went wrong, boom, there you go. You already know what you need to do when the situation comes back around again, when the opportunity presents itself again. And some of these things, it simply takes more than one rep. You aren't going to get it on the first try. It doesn't matter how hard you study. There are just some things that are not meant for you to get it right. And get your 100% gold star and some bonus points. It's just not going to go like that on a first round. You do have to get some reps in. You do have to make some mistakes. You do have to have some pitfalls and shortcomings. And when those things come up, don't use them to discourage yourself, and don't allow others to use the reminder of that to discourage you. Because if that's what they're bringing to you as a form of discouragement, y'all already know. And for those of you listening, y'all know I pointed straight at everybody can't go. Leave them where they are. And so as you are paying attention to and being mindful of using these challenges as opportunities, or using that information to take to someone or to some resource so that you're able to turn that into an opportunity, or at least turn it into another try where you are able to find out if changing or tweaking, updating anything about your previous approach, if any of those things can yield you a better result, or at bare minimum, you could check that off the list that way doesn't quite work either. Just make sure that those L's aren't being taken and just stored up and harbored as negative energy. There are some good things that we can do with those. But it's up to us to make sure that we are, if we can't see it, that's one of the other things that's the importance of keeping that good company. So that when you aren't thinking about that and you aren't focusing on it, somebody else can remind you, like, hey, I can hear you out. I can let you vent. Is it solution time or is it learning moment time? Are you open to hearing how I see that didn't go right for you, but okay, so here are some things that I heard and here are some ideas that I have for you. Make sure that when you're reviewing those things and you're bouncing it off of someone else, make sure that it's somebody that's bouncy. Just make sure you aren't splatting it up against a brick wall. Make sure that you're getting something from it. If you're not able to see the lesson in it yourself, usually if you have good company, someone else will be able to help you with that perspective or that alternative thought. And like I always say, if you don't have that person in your life, the tribe is here, the community is here. Drop something in the chat about it. And as always, if you're like, I don't really know about saying it publicly, I don't know about posting publicly, I don't want to air out all my business, there's always hit me at everybody can't go, the number 2 on IG. You can always send me a DM and I can help you out through there. Shameless plug. But you don't have to go through those things alone. And you also don't have to rack your brain with trying to find the lesson in something if you're not able to see it. We were created to help each other. So give someone else that opportunity so that they can get at that thing with you. And finally, of course, I want you to stay encouraged in your journey because your journey is for you. Even when you're giving to other people and that's your MO and that's that's what you want to do, you still have a journey that it's just for you. Because you can't fulfill those parts of the journey where you're giving and helping all of these other people if you aren't the best version of you that you could possibly be and become. There's always just a little bit better that you could strive for so that all of the ways that you are giving and being received in this world and to other people, you can make it like that notch just a little bit better. And with staying encouraged in your journey, remember that doesn't always mean that it has to be a big fancy thing. It doesn't always have to be a party with confetti, glitter, candles, some sparklers, all the things, all the stuff. Sometimes staying encouraged in your journey is just being still. Sometimes it's building towards something. Sometimes it is laying that foundation. Sometimes it's fortifying that foundation. Sometimes it's an inspection and seeing that there's some cracks in that foundation. There's some repairs that need to be made. And sometimes it's just moving along at a slow, steady pace, still going toward that big goal. So just remember, it's okay if this year, if you just made it. And that in itself is also an accomplishment, and that is a celebration. So we will be back next week with another Everybody Can't Go Convo. Even though it's Christmas, we coming up in here with the Christmas spirit. Yes, we doing it. I will see you guys next week for another Everybody Can't Go Convo.
Calling all Gen X women writers. Do you have a book inside of you just waiting to be written? It's time to stop sitting on that dream and start smiling at your completed manuscript. Join us for an unforgettable, fully immersive weekend retreat designed to take you from stuck to published. From March 14th through 16th, 2025, at a luxurious retreat home in Orlando, Florida, you'll be guided step by step by best selling authors, experienced publishers, and your writing coach, Melissa T, who's authored 8 books and helped countless writers become bestsellers. This is your chance to unshackle the story that's been living inside of you for months or even years and release your voice to the world. Because when you share your words, you change lives one page at a time. Secure your spot today and get ready to write the book you were born to create. Save your spot now. Click the link below.